What's up, guys? First off, today is a big day. In just a few short hours, 4X is going to go live on Ray's channel to announce the launch date for the animal farm. Personally, I could not be more excited. We all know that it's coming in the first week of October, but more importantly is actually what happens tomorrow. So tomorrow is when the marketing actually starts, and that's going to give us a chance really to finally tell the world about Drip Network. We've never really done paid marketing, and now with a budget of a couple $100,000 a month, a lot of people are going to see the project we care so much about and then the community we care so much about. So we're all here because we love it. We're all early adopters, and when this thing really goes off, I think that all of our patience is going to be rewarded. So before I forget, please like and subscribe. We've been killing it in the subscriber game this month. Part of that's because I've been making, pretty good content, but the other part is because you guys have been liking and commenting nonstop, and I think that really helps the algorithm. So thank you guys, and thank you for the support that you've given me on this journey. So far, it's been a great ride, and I can't wait for what happens next. So you guys ready for today's video? It's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna give you some insight into my personal life. I'm gonna be a bit vulnerable, and I know this isn't common for YouTubers, and it's certainly not common for me. But I think this topic is super important. I wanted to address it, and I wanted to see if I could help mold the mindset of some of you young investors out there. So as you guys probably saw on the thumbnail, the topic of today's video is how exactly will Drip change your life? Now some of you are gonna say, hey, I'm just gonna be rich, right? I'm gonna get myself a Lambo and a mansion. I'm gonna gold plate my Lambo. I'm quitting my job and I'm just gonna spend life on a beach every day. My entire life from now on is going to be one big vacation, and I'm going to live on a yacht with a bunch of supermodels. So that's great and all, but it's a little short-sighted. What I really want to talk about is how exactly Drip would change your life. I don't want to talk about what tangible items Drip's going to buy for you. I want to talk about how it's going to change the mind up here and how that's going to translate into changing your daily actions. So to bring this topic together and paint a little more context, I need to get personal, like I said. So I grew up with my dad. We had limited funds. My pops worked a lot of hours to put food on the table. Pretty standard, we had humble means. So I don't come from money, and I certainly don't come from any sort of like a financial background, right? My dad was married at 17, had my sister at 18, me at 19, and divorced at 20. So he was just a kid himself trying to raise us, and there was definitely no time for him to learn about finance. It was all about survival. So it's safe to say that we didn't have many conversations about investing or stock options at the dinner table. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you guys are the same. I think it's rare, even for this day and age, for people to have a good financial background. Most people just go work for 40 years of their life. They stuff money into a 401k. They look at it quarterly during the quarterly reporting. They don't even know what it's invested in. It's spread out through a bunch of mutual funds, and they just hope at the end of their long working career that they're going to have enough money. That is the average person even today, let alone 35, 40 years ago when we were growing up. So I'd be willing to bet that a lot of you can identify with my upbringing, and that's why this conversation will be even a little more impactful. Now fast forward later in life, I struggled through life with humble means for the most part. And when I hit about my mid-20s, the stuff I was doing was making me really good money, making a lot of money. Like I said, I pretty much struggled my whole life, so having money was different, much different. It was cool to be able to buy things, yeah, but that's not really where I learned any lessons. I remember one day I was having car problems. I had an issue with the radiator, one of my tires kept going flat, and there was some other issue that I had too. I took the car and they said, hey, the reason your tires are going flat is 3 of your 4 wheels, your rims, are actually cracked, and you got to replace those. Plus the radiator's tough to get out, so that's going to be X amount of dollars. And like I said, I forget what the other issue was, but it was also expensive to fix. And I remember them telling me the bill was going to be like $3,500 or something like that. And to be frank, part of that's because I got upgraded rims and tires while I had the opportunity to do that. So part of that's my fault. But anyway, a bill like that before, something like $3,000, would have absolutely wrecked me. I would have not known how I was going to pay for it. I would have been looking maybe for somebody to give me a loan. Maybe they could put me on a payment plan. Can I slim down and just go on the ramen noodle diet? Maybe PB&J. I mean, earlier in life, that truly would have wrecked me, and I would have had massive anxiety, and I would have had a really hard time and a lot of stress trying to figure out how I was actually going to pay that bill to get back on the road, just so I had a car to go to work and all that stuff. But in this case, I had money. And it was really the first time in my life I had money. And it was at that point in my life, I sort of had an epiphany. Of course, I went down, I paid for the car, I paid cash. I was a little frustrated by the inconvenience. I certainly could have used that $3,500 somewhere else, but I had it on hand. So I went over to the shop, I paid for it, and got my car back. And I remember thinking to myself, like, whoa, this is what people who have money go through. Like when something happens like this that would be life-changing for someone who didn't have money, car breaks down, now you can't get to work. You're trying to figure out how to get the bus schedule down so you can get to work on time. Got to figure out how to put food on the table. The stress and anxiety that goes along with that is massive. But here I was able to erase all that stress and anxiety by handing them the money and taking my car. And I remember leaving and just going like, there's no tightness in my chest. I don't feel anxious. I'm really not that frustrated. It's just a minor inconvenience and cost me a little bit of money. So I drove off. I had that newfound clarity of what exactly money could do for your psychology. Not what it could buy for you or what vacations you could take or anything like that. More about when you get pinned into a corner and there's a scenario that normally really would have caused you a lot of heartache, a lot of frustration, a lot of stress. When you've got everything else right up here and you're able to just pay for that and have it go away, it's a pretty amazing thing. So that was my first taste. Now fast forward to current times. I spent a decade grinding in corporate America. I got a job when I moved out here. It was kind of an entry-level job. Worked really hard, got a promotion. Worked really hard, got another promotion. Moved over into an accounting department. Had no idea what I was doing, but I was reading a lot of books and everything and getting really good at what I was doing. Then I got shifted over to commercial real estate. That was my first taste of what commercial real estate was like on the inside. Worked like 1,000 commercial real estate deals till I moved on to another department and then got a couple of promotions since then. I think during the decade I was really in corporate America, I got like 8 different promotions. And that was just from me working hard. I didn't have the same credentials as a lot of my peers, but I was reading 50 books a year. I was taking online courses. I was doing anything I could just to get smarter about whatever the category was, right? When I went into accounting, I'm reading books on accounting. I'm trying to get as sharp as possible. When I went over into project management, I'm reading project management books. I'm taking little project management courses online. I'm doing anything I can to get myself ahead because I never want to go back to the point where I didn't have money, right? That was a very uncomfortable time in my life. But I won't lie, my life was very stressful, especially those last couple roles I had. There was a lot of pressure and a lot of challenges. And even though I really like challenging things because I like to work through them, there was plenty of stress, depression, anxiety, and all those things that went along with that. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but I was doing pretty good financially. So life is good. I own a really nice home. I drive a nice car. I have a beautiful family. And then 2020 hits. Bam, COVID. Like many people, I find myself temporarily unemployed. I've got this side business that's half built and I've been putting it together with a partner for like the last couple years. But our revenue is super low. So it's not like it can support my salary. So as you can expect, my stress level goes up, like way up. I was working my ass off to find a solution and I was having massive anxiety every day, day in and day out. At this point in my life, I'd never been in a position where I was concerned about taking care of my family or concerned about losing my house, right? How am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to feed the kid? All that type of stuff. When I was poor in my younger years, I was alone. I was single. So eating cans of chili and ramen noodles wasn't like a huge deal. And if you've come from an area or a place where that's like a normal part of life, I know a lot of you guys probably have, that feels normal. So you don't really know what it's like if you have money because you've never had it before. But at that point in my life, I had already had the taste. I had already had money. I was already pretty successful. And then bam, my entire world got rocked. Now there was plenty of points in there where I was like legitimately concerned about losing my house. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to sell my thing, sell my full house, pay off the debt, and then start over. Like I knew I was gonna be okay, but it's still, as you can imagine, like your heart is racing every day. That's not an ideal headspace to be in. So luckily for me, I was lucky. I started investing when I was pretty young. So I was able to actually cash in on a lot of those investments and that helped get me by. But even with those investments, I really, frankly, I still put myself in a major hole because that major change in income was just completely unexpected for me. So I hadn't really prepared myself to completely switch my lifestyle and the lifestyle of my family to be able to put me in a better position and just, reroute my track. So fast forward to today, I'm almost completely climbed out of the hole that I dug for myself. I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I make really good money. I know my mortgage is gonna get paid. I know I'm putting food on the table. So my day-to-day life is solid, secure. I've got investments. Everything is starting to look up. But in my day-to-day life right now, I do a lot of consulting. All my consulting is in the business operations category. So I work with a lot of businesses. It just depends on what it is. Some of it's commercial real estate, some of it's more e-commerce marketing related, but I have a variety of clients that I work with. Now, some of that work and some of those clients really stress me out. And frankly, it gives me a lot of anxiety. I have trouble sleeping. I feel like I need to work 16 hours a day. And I often feel like I'm telling myself, I don't want to do this. And this doesn't make me happy. So again, while I really like work challenges, there's certain things that I just don't want to do anymore. They're not fun for me anymore, and it's additional stress that I just feel like I don't need in my life. It's not fun. So for me, what I think a lot about lately, what I've been thinking about a lot lately, the thoughts that go through my mind is if drip hits an all-time high, it's how do I remove the stress and anxiety from my life? I'm still gonna work. I'm gonna work probably till the day I die. I've got a rich friend, we call him Uncle Bill. He's like a mentor to me. He's extremely, extremely successful in business. He told me one time, I said, "Hey, Bill, why are you working, dude? You could have retired a long time ago." He said, "You know, Scott, you'd be amazed how much you like to work when you don't have to work anymore." He's like, "I love going in. I love getting up early, going in, crushing some work. I love what I do. And the fact that at any time I could walk away and not think twice about it is what makes work so gratifying." So I remember when he told me that, it was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. But it really started to change my perspective too. I thought to myself, how can I get to the level where I don't have to work anymore and I can just fill my time with work that I really love doing? When I went on Mike the Investor show the other day, the live stream, I started talking about, hey, what would people do, or what could people do? I think they're underestimating what they could do if they had a couple hundred extra grand. If most people had $250,000, they could take 2 years off of working. And if you're able to take 2 years off of working, that would allow you to re-identify whatever your passion was, right? Everybody's got something that they really love to do. Could be pottery, could be painting, could be car detailing, could be trading stock options. It really doesn't matter what it is, but before you had to become an adult and get a real job, you had an idea of what you were really passionate about. And the nice thing is here, if you're rich, it doesn't have to make you money. Listen, when I was young, I sort of wanted to be a history teacher. I love history personally, but I bagged that idea because there's no money in it. Now, that's not my forte now because that's not challenging enough. But if you never felt like you actually had to work for another dollar, how would you fill your time? Now, the way I'm wired, I can't spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year on a beach. I guarantee you that if I'm sitting out on a beach somewhere, having a Mai Tai, I'm looking down the beach going, wonder how much that guy charges for jet ski rentals. I noticed the process he's going through isn't that efficient. If it were me, I'd set up a shack over here. I'd have a couple salespeople walking up and down the beach trying to see, get people into riding the jet skis. Anyway, my mind is always going to go toward business because that's what I like. That's what I think is challenging. So no matter if I'm sitting on a beach in Maui or in an office building in South Carolina, it doesn't really matter. I'm always going to be thinking about the same stuff because that's how my brain works. And frankly, that's what makes me happy. So what I want you to think about is how exactly is Drip going to change your life? Because that Lambo isn't going to make you happy for long. Sure, it's going to be fun to drive, but it's certainly not going to help you sleep when you go to bed at night. Sure, it'll be great to tell your crappy boss to go F off, but after a couple weeks sitting at home on the couch, I hope that you're starting to think, okay, what's my impact going to be on society? How can I use my wealth and how can I use my knowledge to help improve the lives of others, help educate them, help move them forward in life? That's the stuff that I feel like is really important. And that's the stuff I want you to start thinking about. That's the purpose of this exercise and the whole reason I made this video. Yeah, when Drip hits another all-time high, we're all going to buy a bunch of stuff. I guarantee it. There's a side-by-side I really want. I don't want to buy it now because I just don't feel like I want to add another liability. But I guarantee when the Drip money comes in, I'll have a nice excuse to go pick it up. So point is, we're all going to buy stuff. But how is that actually going to change your life? Are you going to move careers? And then what career are you going to go into? Are you going to go back to painting like you loved in high school and college? When you got out of college, you had to get a real job and you haven't picked up a paintbrush since. Are you going to quit work altogether and spend 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week, volunteering at that children's hospital you're super passionate about? So that's the stuff I actually want you to think about because I think wealth has the ability to change the psychology of people that are ready for it. So for me, here's what I'm going to do. Let's say I wake up tomorrow, Drip is at an all-time high. What I'll be doing is I'll be contacting each of the clients that add stress to my life, and more importantly, that I feel that they add a lot more stress than they do value. And I'm going to let them know they've got me for 30 more days. So we can transition over to a new team, a new company, whatever. But they've got me and my expertise for 30 more days. I would remove all of those clients from my life and just keep the couple things that I really enjoy doing. I would immediately give my family a break. My family is very used to me working 60, 70 hours a week. I've worked about that much for the last decade, and I'm sure my wife is super tired of it. So the changes that would be made there is obviously I'd go on a nice vacation and I'd rearrange my schedule. I would probably work 4 8 to 9 hour days, just try to work super hard, or I would work partial days, right? I'd get up early, get some work done, maybe go to the gym in the middle of the day, like right in the middle of my work day, get done early so I'm able to go pick my kid up at school, completely reevaluate exactly where I'm spending my time. That way I can cook dinner at a normal time. Because right now, those are the biggest things that are sort of out of balance. And part of the reason is I'm so determined to be successful and to get myself and my family in a better position that I'm constantly working and grinding because I just want to get ahead, If I didn't have the stress of me thinking, how am I going to get everything paid off? I want to be debt free. I want to be in a financial position to be able to take this many vacations a year. I want to make sure I can pay for my kid's school and whatever, soccer, baseball, football programs he wants to go to. I want to make sure all that stuff's covered. If I already know in the back of my mind that's covered, then what am I doing with the rest of my time? So for me, it's recalibrate my hours that I work so I can spend some more impactful time with my family. I would remove the businesses that I work with that are causing me stress. I really want to remove anything from my life where I get up and I'm like, this is not making me feel good. I want to remove those things from my life. Like I've said, I am okay with challenges. I like challenges. I like really challenging things in business. I like putting myself in uncomfortable situations so I got to figure out how to bail out. I like that stuff. What I don't like is the day-to-day stress and anxiety that I go through. So what Drip would do for me is it would actually remove those things. So I would spend more time with family, less time working on the stuff I don't want to. I can spend more time with my investments. Frankly, I probably spend more time with you guys. There's a lot of videos that I want to create that I think are awesome, but I am just strapped for time all the time. And even sometimes I'm like, man, I got to get a video out, and I get anxiety about it because I know I have so much to say and I need to keep up to date with you guys, but my day-to-day in real life businesses are just crushing me. So I would utilize my cryptocurrency investments as leverage to get rid of those additional stressors in my life. That is probably the number one thing and the most important thing about this video. That's what I would do. And then of course, those additional funds, I know a lot about investing in other categories, including real estate and stocks and futures and all that type of stuff. So I would leverage those additional funds to make money there. And I would probably transition a lot of what I do over to real estate, specifically short-term rentals. I would probably build a small management company that handles all the management of short-term rentals and try to go out and get clients and stuff. That stuff's fun for me. I like building businesses. So that's personally the direction I go. I'm not overly concerned with all the big fancy stuff that the Drip would buy me or getting super wealthy would be able to purchase for me. The only thing you can't buy in life is time. You can't get time back. But what money can buy you in the immediate term is freedom. Freedom to work for who you want. Freedom to work when you want. Freedom to go to your kids' basketball games in the middle of the day. Freedom to take a day off when you feel like you just need a mental health day. And the freedom to not have to answer to anybody but yourself. And what that means is that you are challenging yourself and you are intentionally putting yourself in positions where there are obstacles so you can learn and grow. But it's not your boss doing it because he's trying to hit some sort of quota for the month. So I think you guys get what I'm saying. I would be willing to bet that most of you guys probably came from humble means as well. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if at least a quarter of you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm not doing what I want to do every day in life. I don't like going to my job. I don't like my boss. I'm stressed out. I can't figure out how to pay for this, can't figure out how to pay for that. And you're extremely frustrated by that. So if that's you, I want to hear your story. I want to know how exactly Drip is going to change your life. So let me know in the comments if you guys want more content like this. Let me know as well. But happy investing.